Earthquake removes Steelix from the field of play. Machamp looks to fire off the cross chop. The opponent catches onto Dragonair, but Dragonair going to get knocked out, vanquished. Back to its Pokeball. Out comes Drapion. Machamp going to go for the Stone Edge. And Machamp going to knock out yet another Pokemon. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Monday to everyone. And there's no better way to start the week off than with a big bang, courtesy of one of my favourite Pokemon. One of the OGs, Shadow Machamp. Machamp, unfortunately, has very much fallen out the meta. And I'll be honest, I'm not entirely sure why. It has numerous targets. Stuff like Diggersby, Furret, Cradily, all very common and stuff that get absolutely clapped by Shadow Machamp. Machamp is just able to bully its way through so many matchups. It's received a few buffs in recent seasons. Karate Chop, now a clone of moves such as Poison Sting and Fairy Wind, meaning it generates energy at a very alarming rate. Its cheapest charge move of Cross Chop also got buffed, I think in like season 18 or 19. A few seasons ago now. It used to do 50 damage, it now does 55. But if you're going to use Shadow Machamp, you can add Shadow bonus and of course same type attack bonus on that as well, meaning this thing outputs absurd damage. Today's featured battler, GGDAWG, a very entertaining battler, is running the double legacy move with Stone Edge for coverage. I always used to run Stone Edge, even when it had counter, but it was pretty slow to get to. Now it's got the same pacing as the OG Quagsire, 766, meaning it can reach them Stone Edges at a very alarming rate as a very nice get out of jail free card. Rounding GGDAWG's team off, we've got Steelix in the lead and Sableye in the back. Without any further ado, let's get into the battle! And in game one, we are off to a good start. Thunderfang Steelix going to dominate Toxapex. The opponent say switch into the big fat bunny. And here comes Shadow Machamp. Machamp wastes no time, pacing that cross chop after only 4 quick moves or 8 turns. And instantly puts this big fat bunny into the yellow health range. GGDAWG going to shield up the Scorching Sands. This is only a fire punch. Machamp are very glassy, but this is survivable. Potentially we can Karate Chop farm down here. Not wanting to risk a farm down, we're just going to fire off the next cross shot, removing Thickersby from the field of play. The opponent sends back out Toxapex. Shadow Machamp still not done. Going to reach the Stone Edge. Stone Edge going to put some very nice chip damage, and we're going to return as we were. Steelix re-enters the arena. GGDAWG going to bank his energy. As we're down a Protect Shield, we're going to opt to tank the Brine on Sableye, where it only hits for neutral as opposed to super effective. And that play turns out to be very nice for us as the opponent sends out Clodsire. Sableye going to fire off the foul play. Not hitting all that hard this season. It has been reworked. It's cheaper to get to, but in matchups against really bulky Pokemon, you can see the damage output isn't quite what it once was. We send back out Steelix, go straight for the Earthquake. Oof, which unfortunately the opponent does respect. GGDAWG with a decision to make, going to call the bait. The opponent fire off the Sludge Bomb. That is triple resisted. What a savage call. The opponent then pivots back out into Toxapex. GGDAWG going to tank whatever the opponent throws. Of course it's going to be a Brine. Sludge Wave would have also been triple resisted. We get that huge farm down, leaving at 100 energy. They've already seen Earthquake. We go for the Psychic Fang's bait. GGDAWG making all the right calls in this battle. The opponent shield the Psychic Fang bait. We reach the Earthquake, and that's going to be all she wrote. GG's, and thanks for playing. Heading into the next battle, we lead Steelix into Bastiodon, aka the stupid brick wall or public enemy number 1. The Thunderfang Steelix, especially on an Earthquake, in a very advantageous position. We bank some energy, pivot into Sableye, baiting out Poliwrath. Trainer, I'm not entirely sure that is the say switch you are looking for. We fire off the Dazzling Gleam, forcing the first Protect Shield of the game. We see instant no shield deployed from GGDAWG. The opponent's only thrown 6 counters, which means this can only be a power-up punch. We're able to reach the Dazzling Gleam once again on what looks like to be a charge attack priority. The opponent opted to shield here in the mid-game matchup. Power-up punch still doesn't get the job done. We then pivot into Steelix. Steelix takes a huge amount of double boosted counter damage, but does get that farm down. Back out comes Bastiodon. Oh my trainer. Bastiodon straight in and straight out. Get that Bastiodon off my screen. Earthquake cleanly picks up the one shot. I hate Bastiodon, and that was so satisfying. Out comes Morpeko. Steelix going to land back-to-back Earthquakes, and we're going to take that game. Steelix, you need to chill out, buddy. This is supposed to be a Machamp showcase, and you are currently stealing the show. In the next battle, the opponent completely core broken by Thunderfang Steelix. They lead Wigglytuff, say switch into Lapras. We fire off the Psychic Fangs, then see a very nice Sparknoria catch onto Sableye. It's paramount that we maintain alignment here. Of course, we don't want Machamp aligned against that annoying Marshmallow. Sableye fires after foul play. The opponent looking to realign. I'm going to anticipate us matching shields. GGDAWG instantly puts up that Protect Shield, Recognising switch advantage will be everything, GGDAWG actually able to get the massive Shadow Claw farm down, leaving with the Dazzling Gleam to do around half the Marshmallow's health. Dazzling Gleam does put them into the yellow. Thunderfang Steelix re-enters the arena, the opponent continuing to stay in. Trainer, what's in the back? Tell me you're not triple weak to Steelix. Steelix can absorb whatever the opponent wants to throw. Icy Wind does hit for neutral, but doesn't get the same type attack bonus and doesn't do much of anything. Out comes Wall Rain. Oh boy. Oh boy. No! Thank you. I was going to say if we shield, I don't even think Machamp's going to get any screen time, but GGDAWG like, don't worry, Jamie Finn, I've got you, buddy. I know you like Machamp. Machamp going to enter the arena, go straight for the cross chop, knock out Wall Rain, and we take that game. Wigglytuff double ice. What a team comp. Heading into the next battle, we see Dragonair in the lead. This is more of a neutral matchup than a commanding one when we're running Thunderfang, as Dragon does resist electric, and they do have access to Aqua Tail to hit us for super effective. We actually catch the charge move onto Sableye, and out comes Noctowl. This really is a blast from the past. Noctowl once reigned supreme in the early seasons. It got nerfed, then it kind of got buffed again. However, nowadays, it's back in the nerfed category. I think the dominance of Gligar in the Open Great League was the reason for the wing attack nerf, and Pokemon such as Noctowl and even Charizard, one of my favourites, was just collateral damage. Steelix absorbs the Shadow Ball, commits to a massive Thunderfang farm down. Back out comes Dragonair. Psychic Fangs forced to protection. We see the pivot into Shadow Machamp, and out comes Toxapex. Machamp with a 2-to-1 shielded advantage. These Stone Edges are going to chunk, but the issue is we're applying very, very little fast move pressure. The first Stone Edge rocks the opponent below half health. I think here we should have definitely committed to the Stone Edge. The opponent tanks the cross chop. Looks like they're committing to a full poison jab farm down. Machamp able to reach one further cross chop, forcing the final protect shield off the opponent. Steelix goes straight for the Psychic Fangs, winning the charge attack priority. Psychic Fangs will move in Toxapex from the field of play. The opponent needs to commit to fast moves. They attempt to Dragon Breath Bomb down Steelix, but Steelix refuses to die, reaches the next Psychic Fangs, and we're going to 2-shield flex. Eventually, when the game stops unlagging. GG's, and thanks for playing. Heading into the next battle, we need Shadow Machamp into, what the heck is that? Metachan. And the running counter as well. GGDAWG, are you in a time warp, buddy? This is 2025, not 2023. Speaking of 2023, that's probably the last time I saw an Air/Skarmory. Air/Skarmory in the early seasons was pretty good. Steel Wing made it too good, and now no one uses it whatsoever. I think the Steel Wing variant still has some play, just because of the dominance of Cradily, but this team is so random. Counter Meti. Well, even the Psycho Cut variant of Meti, it would be a huge core breaker for Steelix and Machamp. GGDAWG fires off the Psychic Fangs, but then see the pivot into Machamp, and we're instantly going to no shield, anticipating the opponent going for a power-up punch. The opponent does exactly that. Cross Chop, Stone Edge, everything will be resisted, but they are debuffed by the Psychic Fangs. Cross Chop forces the opponent. Final Protect Shield. Machamp going to be forced to shield over a power-up punch, and these boosted counters are going to delete us. Machamp actually able to reach the Cross Chop. Cross Chop from this range, even resisted, we'll be moving them from the field of play. We'll reset our debuff, sending out Steelix, and out comes the Pancake. GGDAWG still with a shield to hold on, willing to tank the Mud Bomb, despite being super effective, knowing the opponent is never ever Thundershock farming us down. GGDAWG here smartly takes the extra, as if we threw them we would have lost CMP. GGDAWG going to full send the Earthquake, the opponent has no shields, Earthquake, rocks the opponent low, but we're going to be unable to Thunderfang farm down. We attempt to throw the Psychic Fangs, but lose CMP. It's going to be a battle of quick moves. It's going to be Legacy Karate Chop versus Thundershock. Machamp bullies its way through the remaining HP, and we take a very close game. GG's to both trainers. GGDAWG starting today's free-set showcase with a perfect 5-0. Let's go. Heading into the next battle. We lead Steelix into Marowak. Yikes. We're going to save switch into Sableye, and let's see what the opponent wants to do. As we opted to throw one quick move, the opponent is able to outpace to the Bone Club. I would have liked to have seen us instantly pivot out and then go straight for the foul play. That would have been good timings with the switch. That would have been 11 turns into 12. As the opponent's staying in, you can look at this one of two ways. Either they've got no answer for Sableye, or they don't need Marowak, as they've got another hard answer for Steelix. It looks like we're having some connection issues. You can see GGDAWG toggling off his Wi-Fi. Hopefully we're back connected, and it looks like we are. We see GGDAWG not willing to shield Machamp, instead pivoting back out into Steelix. If the opponent has another answer for Steelix, we're now going to switch lock ourselves. The opponent does indeed have another good answer for Steelix in the form of Superior. Thunderfang is resisted and these Psychic Fangs don't do much either. We see the instant no shield deployed Frenzy Plant removes Steelix from the field of play, and it is Shadow Machamp versus the world. GGDAWG overfarms, fires off the cross chop. Cross chop with a -1 defense, probably knocks out from it. Again, we're getting some lag. Cross chop isn't lethal. We're able to karate chop farm down after. Okay, whatever's in the back, not a fan of Machamp. The opponent just concedes the match, heading into the next battle. Atrocious lead. Once again, GGDAWG pivots out into Sableye, and this time answered by Mandibars. The opponent gives us an energy lead, and this is now a very flippable matchup. Dazzling Gleam, cleanly 2 shots in this matchup. It does like 60%. Dazzling Gleam goes unshielded, rocking them into the yellow health range. If this is an aerial ace, we will survive. GGDAWG instantly no shield. The opponent go for the aerial ace. Sableye now going to force a shield advantage. I'll cleanly win switch. I'm almost certain the opponent's shield. No, they actually give up on alignment. It's no secret that I don't like this snail. I think it is such a one-dimensional RPS pick, so I'm super surprised to see the opponent just concede switch advantage so easily, knowing that this thing is so easily hard countered. If we would have had a jump off, this thing would be crying. The opponent finds himself quite fortunate, as we don't really have a hard punish for this snail. Machamp taking massive damage from the mud slaps. The opponent tanks a cross chop, send out Talonflame. We end up throwing the cross chop bait on alignment, and GGDAWG is just going to concede the match. Heading into the next battle, we see Superior in the lead. Superior is somewhat of an issue for us. Steelix doesn't do well here, and Machamp not going to do particularly well either, especially if the opponent has an energy lead. Looks like GGDAWG content with staying in, going to tank the Frenzy Plant and look to return fire with the Psychic Fangs. Psychic Fangs will be debuffed from their defense, but these Thunderfang still won't be doing much. We pivot into Sableye. The opponent opts to stay in, and this is like best case scenario. Sableye fires off the foul play. Foul play forces the protect shield. We're going to see the instant shield deployed. Even the opponent bait, they're never ever going to be able to outpace. Sableye looks to fire off the next foul play. The opponent actually make a catch. Catching the foul play onto Lapras, but this still is a good matchup for us. GGDAWG overfarms, fires off the next foul play. This won't quite be lethal, but will leave him low. The opponent know it, tank the damage. Looks like we attempted to make a catch, but unfortunately switch timer wasn't quite up. We see GGDAWG instantly send out Steelix, snipe with a Thunderfang, looking to make use of the misaligned timers, but unfortunately, as it's Golurk in the back, I think this one is destined for defeat. This cross chop is double resisted as Ghost does double resist fight, and the opponent actually catch on Superior, and that is going to be the final nail in our coffin. Machamp gonna fire off one further cross chop. The opponent's shield, not they needed to. We can't win that game, and GGDAWG is going to concede the match. GG's that opponent. Heading into the next battle, commanding lead. Steelix a complete water charger mode. The opponent save switch into Sableye, and we enter the mirror. GGDAWG wastes no time, goes straight for the foul play. A foul play goes unshielded. The opponent farmed to a gleam. I don't dislike respecting it here. The opponent go for the foul play bait. They are going to reach one further foul play. We should be able to survive this move, but GGDAWG actually opted a double shield here in the mid-game matchup. Out comes a 2-shield Azumarill, which is certainly going to prove to be somewhat of an issue for us. Fire off the Dazzling Gleam, also going unshielded, then send out Machamp. GGDAWG, how could you? Machamp getting sacrificed to the Pokegods, being used as the third shield. Play rough, picks up that one hit KO. Out comes Steelix. Steelix goes for the Psychic Fangs. Psychic Fangs finally forces the first Protect shield. This is just an Ice Beam right there. Is no way they're on Hydro Pump. Thankfully, it is just an Ice Beam. The opponent then pivots out into Charger Bug. GGDAWG gonna fire off the Psychic Fangs. The Psychic Fangs won't do too much. The next one will do more. We then pivot out into Sableye. We're able to reach the foul play on the CMP tie. Huh? Why didn't the opponent shield? Trainer, what are you saving that shield for? Exeter picks up the knockout. The opponent recognised they probably should have shielded that, and they concede the match. Very strange game. But heading into the next one. We see Steelix into Dragonair last time. We looked to catch the Aqua Tail onto Sableye. Looks like we're going for the exact same play again. Now that Body Slam's been nerfed, in neutral situations, you always want to throw Aqua Tail as opposed to Body Slam, but of course you're always going to throw Aqua Tail at Steelix anyway, as Body Slam would be resisted. The opponent continued to stay and we fire off the foul play. The opponent commit to a massive Dragon Breath farm down. We send out Machamp and even get denied coming in. We see the instant no-shield deployed. Aqua Tail does like 50% of our HP. The opponent then pivot out into Clodso, bank a bucket of energy, and Steelix hits the field of play. This time GGDAWG not looking to call any sludge bomb bait. A good job we didn't, as the opponent wasn't messing around full send an Earthquake. We return fire with our own Earthquake. Not too many Steelix in the Great League do run this moveset. That Earthquake did a massive chunk to Clodsai's never-ending HP. We then fire off the Psychic Fangs. Psychic Fangs forces the final protection, and GGDAWG going to put it all on the back of Machamp. Machamp looks to fire off the cross chop. The opponent save Clodsai, catch back onto Dragonair. Dragonair gets knocked out by the cross chop. Out comes Drapion. Cross chop wouldn't get the job done, but Legacy Stone Edge certainly will. Machamp going to knock out one further Pokemon. Can we reach a cross chop to knock out Clodsire? Yes, we can. Shadow Machamp absolutely popping off, and we take that game. Looks like we've got another opponent force close the app, as you can tell by the huge amount of lag we received. But no closing the app is going to ever save you from the wrath of Shadow Machamp, as when shields are down, Machamp certainly goes to town. Heading into the next battle, we see Skeledirge in the lead. We fire off one Thunderfang, save switch into Sableye. We could have actually thrown the foul play before this move was reached. We end up throwing on CMP. Very grateful the opponent actually threw there, as if we would have thrown that and the opponent took the extra Incinerate, I think they could have fully Incinerate farmed us down. It ends up working out for us. The opponent exchange Protect Shields with us and then send out a Zoom Roll. We land the Dazzling Gleam, the opponent opts to instant throw. Ice Beam picks up the knockout. Steelix going to come in, commit to that full Thunderfang farm down, and potentially Earthquake Skeledirge. I want to see that Earthquake land. The opponent fire off the Ice Beam. Steelix shrugs off the damage. Just throw one Thunderfang and the Earthquake. No! I saw the grass type in. I think it's Superior that come out. But anyway, the opponent shielded the Psychic Fangs. The opponent made a very nice play, followed up with a potato play. What is going on in this battle? It was indeed Superior. Steelix gonna fire off the Psychic Fangs. Our switch timer should be up. We need to pivot into Machamp right on cue. Machamp hits the field of play. We just shield up whatever they throw that Stone Edge, and that is going to be yet another one-hit KO. Machamp reaches the Stone Edge. Going to be high Superior by Superior. GG's, and thanks for playing. I believe today's battles are from like 2000 to 2150 ELO or something around that. This ELO range always has me so confused. People make some nice plays and then some crazy plays to follow up, which always get me super confused. In the next battle, we see Malamar in the lead. We attempt to catch a Superpower onto Sableye, and our catch attempt is unsuccessful. Opponent land the foul play, able to outpace the foul play number 2, and we're going to invest the Protect Shield. The opponent continues to stay in. Foul play probably knocks out from here. Foul play forced the Protect Shield, and the opponent once again able to outpace. GGDAWG just going to let Sableye go down, send back out Steelix. Psychic Fangs would be triple resisted, and I don't even think it knocks out from here. We actually look to catch a foul play onto Machamp. Oh crap, that's a superpower to the face. Out comes Lapras, and it is all going wrong for us. This cross chop lightly goes shield, and the opponent going to get a massive sideway farm down. GGDAWG has that Hail Mary. Come on, Earthquake. Please be enough. Earthquake. Oh man, doesn't get the job done. The opponent farming up a bucket load of energy. Is this like a Hydro Pump or something? Please don't be a Hydro Pump. It's just a Sparkling Aura. No. We can't even farm down before the next Sparkling Aura is reached. Steelix loses almost all its HP. Out comes Clodsire. Psychic Fangs are going to be super effective. We're going to do hardly anything, and this one will end in defeat. GG's to that opponent. Heading into the next battle, we lead Steelix into Dragonite. Whenever I see Dragonite, I think this is going to be Crescent Angel's team. With Alolan Sandslash and Gelatin in the back, oh my gosh, we go for a crazy attempted superpower catch onto Sableye. The opponent falls in the superpower, which is single resisted, but still does a solid chunk. My team call is completely wrong, as out comes the Tin Can. Sableye fires off the foul play. The opponent not messing around, going straight for the charge move. I think here, Machamp can just one shield and fully Karate Chop farm down. Let's see if that's the play we go for. GGDAWG actually opts to fire off the cross chop. I think personally I would have looked to farm down. His opponent still has 2 shields, and how are we going to strip him off the opponent? Looks like we are spamming the switch, anticipating Dragonite re-enter the arena, and out comes Jellicent. So at least I got 2 of the 3 Pokemon right with this team call. The opponent shielded the first Psychic Fangs, potentially fearful of like a crunch, I guess. We did have a lot of energy. The opponent actually double shield here. Okay, the opponent making all the wrong decisions. I'm not entirely sure why you double shield so early on that a Steelix able to reach the next Psychic Fangs. This is 2-stage defense drop. It isn't quite lethal. The opponent reset their debuff, sending out Dragonite. Machamp able to outpace to the cross chop. Cross chop is resisted, but Shadow Machamp does not care about type-ins. Back out comes Jellicent. Jellicent going to dump his energy. Surf isn't quite lethal, but still it's going to be able to Thunderfang farm down, and we take that game. I think that opponent made a very poor use of their shields. Heading into the next battle, Steelix into Morpeko, a fantastic lead, a real David versus Goliath matchup. The opponent say switch into Malamar. This probably isn't a superpower right off the bat. We're going to tank a foul play and then eventually make the pivot into Sableye. The opponent continuing to farm up energy. We take the initiative, fire off the foul play. Foul play isn't going to be lethal, but does get them low. Foul play likewise isn't going to be lethal on us, and we should be able to Shadow Claw farm down afterwards. Sableye does get that farm down, and if Morpeko does return, I think we just full send the Gleam. Just full send it and see if the opponent respects the damage. Out comes Morpeko. We do full send. Does the opponent respect the damage? Boo. Then see the pivot back into Steelix. The opponent then sends out Gliscopod, and we have the perfect alignment. The opponent tanked the first Psychic Fangs, which of course is the correct play. Subsequent ones will do more. We reach the next Psychic Fangs, which also goes unshielded, and Gliscopod is almost removed from the field of play. The opponent fire off the Liquidation. I think the only reasons we're on Liquidation is a shortage of TMs. The opponent doesn't want the smoke, and they concede the match. Heading into the next battle, we see Steelix into the Pancake, or the Stunfisk as most of you call it. The opponent's actually running Mud Shot, which I think definitely is not the correct move to be running. I definitely run Thunder Shock. It's 4.5 EPT as opposed to Mud Shot's 4. GGDAWG made a very nice catch the Mud Bomb onto Sableye, but the opponent says, anything you can do, I can do as well. Make a very nice foul play catch onto the Marshmallow. It's very nice to bait this thing out, so Machamp doesn't have to see it. GGDAWG heavily overfarms, fires off the Psychic Fangs. Can we Thunderfang farm down before the Icy Wind? Unfortunately we cannot, but Icy Wind not going to do too much. But more annoyingly, it is going to debuff our attack. You can see we're instantly looking to reset that debuff, sending out Machamp. The opponent sends out Bastiodon. Trainer, what are you doing? This has got to be the worst counter switch I've ever seen in my entire shoutcasting career. Not that I'd call this a career whatsoever. Firstly, I don't make much money, and secondly, I've got no idea what I'm on about most of the time, but this has completely got me in shambles. I don't even know where to go from here, to be honest. Machamp going to shield up the Mud Bomb. Look to fire off one further cross chop. I think this is possibly the most shambolic battle I've ever seen. I'm sorry to this opponent, but honestly, please learn typing. Do not switch in a Steel and Rock type into a fighter, especially not Shadow Machamp. We fire off the Earthquake. Earthquake picks up the knockout. And we're going to end today's video with that very, very strange battle. But I'm going to say GG's regardless. That is just about going to wrap things up for today's shoutcast. What a way to start my week. I shoutcast these at 4:30 AM before I started day shift today. I was half asleep, and after seeing some of them crazy plays, it's fair to say I'm very much ready for the day ahead. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Not that I think anyone's going to sub after watching this very strange, very shambolic shoutcast on my behalf. But at least if you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like. If you like your battles featured on my channel, a link to Battles Feature Form is down below. And I'm going to say a huge thanks to everyone for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.